Hot. Are you sweating like a dog? Wait, what? Dogs don't sweat. Oh no, you forgot to get your window tinted. Whether it's the kitchen window that sits in the sun for the hottest part of the day, or you just got new wheels, call Sharp Window Tinting in Burleson. 817-615-9379 or look them up on the web, sharpwindowtint.com.
Abnormal realities.
I love my mom.
Yep. She sent me a message.
My mom did?
Yeah, Wednesday night, and she invited me over tomorrow night to watch Titanic and share a bowl of popcorn. And I accepted.
You did?
Yep.
That'd be fun.
And she calls it Chaps Only Night. Every Saturday night.
Look.
Miss Dixie,
Look,
how you doing? He said, it's my mom, bro. All right, it's my mom.
I want to hear the answer to the Titanic and popcorn. Go ahead, Mom. What's up?
Oh!
Hi, boys.
Hi,
I
Mom.
just wanted to ask Rocky if he wanted butter on that popcorn or not.
I would rather have the butter somewhere else, but if popcorn's the only place I can have it, I'll take it.
Jeez,
Hey,
dude.
nobody says I can't roll around in it for a little bit.
All right, Mom.
That is my
Love you.
girl. I love you,
Mom.
Dixie.
Abnormal realities
My mom, love you.
Dixie.
Bye. I love you too.
with Ron and Rocky. Weekdays, 4 p.m. and 10 p.m. on JoCo Community Radio.
Holy crap.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to Inside of the Game. Boy, it has been a long time. I believe I took almost a year and a half off from doing the show. My name is Kelvin, your host. Sitting next to me, we'll get to my compatriot who's here in just a moment. We'll get to him in just a second. But you guys can watch us. You can call in. We're going to be talking about a bunch of sports today. NBA free agency, some NFL stuff, your Mavs, Rangers. We'll try to get to as much as we can in an hour's time. It is hot outside. It's going to get warm probably in this studio here in just a minute with some hot takes. I'll just stop the puns. Right now. So make sure and share the stream. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. We're live on Twitter. We're live on LinkedIn. All under JoCo Community Radio. The show is called Inside of the Game, where we take you inside the game. Anyway, number to call in is 817-637-2585 if you want to yell at me or Justin and tell us that we're crazy. The usually crazy takes come from myself, and Justin's my backboard to make sure that we keep an honest and simple show. That's kind of how we're going to go. Anyway, let me get to the person that's sitting next to me. Sir, introduce yourself, and we'll get rolling real quickly with the show here.
I'm Justin Hudgens. Is my mic?
Yours. You got to talk right into it. Move that thing right up into your mouth. There you go.
First time on the radio like this. I'm sorry.
There you go.
But my name is Justin Hudgens. I've grown up around this area. Lived in Keene my whole life. I love sports. I play them all the time. In fact, I still play baseball. I've got whenever I can.
We've won back-to-back softball league championships. Just throwing that out there, not to brag. But anyway, okay, let's start with some stuff here. I've been gone for a while. I'm hoping I still know how to do this thing. I host another radio show. It's kind of different. It's really live, which is fantastic. And I'm glad to be back doing this after a year that I took off.
It's been a while.
So it's been a while. I want to get to some stuff that happened yesterday with the NFL. I was going to lead with NBA free agency and kind of what the Mavs need to do and kind of where the Mavs could go and just kind of the landscape of the NBA since Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving decided to blow up all the news outlets for us. I want to start with a trade that happened in the NFL yesterday or the day before yesterday, with Baker going to the Carolina Panthers. And I just want to defend Baker Mayfield really quickly before America turns on me.
I'm right there with you.
I have another job, and I'm not going to say where I have this other job. If you know me, you know I have another job. It's not the radio station that I work at. It's another job that I have. And at this current job, we are now with our 5th new manager in 10 months. It's not been great.
No, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's not been great. The reason I bring this up is that being a Tennessee Titans fan, I have seen dysfunction at its finest.
Imagine being a Cowboys fan.
Well, that's true. For about 25 years. Sorry. Mine hasn't been that long.
No.
Point is, Baker Mayfield has either had a brand new head coach or a brand new offensive coordinator almost every year that he's been in the NFL. That 9 times out of 10, I don't care where you work, doesn't usually lead to success, especially if those guys have to keep turning over. Now, at some point, they found the roster they wanted, and they built their roster, and they went and got Deshaun Watson. But I think we should stop the here's an invention of a word, the villainization. Is that right? Making
Sounds
him the
good.
villain in a situation where a lot of people and a lot of quarterbacks would struggle to begin with.
Organization did not help him at all there.
They didn't.
No.
Not at all. 3 offensive coordinators and 4 head coaches in his 5 years in the league.
That's ridiculous.
And I don't care how good of a roster you have. That's never going to happen in a sport where you have to have 53 players on the same mindset, in the same system, on the same goal for half the year. That just doesn't make sense.
No. I mean,
do you think he beats out Sam Darnold for the job in Carolina?
I'm thinking he's probably already got it because it's a cheap for him. The Browns still have to pay some of their salary.
That's true.
And at most, it's a 4th round pick, depending on how much he plays.
I did see that the Browns are actually paying. Sorry, the Browns are actually paying Baker Mayfield to play Week 1 against the Browns and beat them. If it's kind of crazy.
Very possible they could win if he plays.
And they play Week 1, ironically enough.
Oh yeah,
Cleveland at the Panthers, I believe, is that game Week 1 of the NFL season. So I just had to throw that in there and make sure that our guy is okay, and defended him just a little bit on that stance, because you can't survive with an organization like that.
No, he got hosed by the Browns.
Yeah, big time. And I love Stefanski. I think he's phenomenal. And I'm glad that he's kind of the hybrid head coach, offensive coordinator. But in their point of view, if you can land Deshaun Watson, whether he's going to get suspended or not, you go and get Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, but you don't spend $230 guaranteed immediately.
Well, until
you figure out what's going on.
That's another thing. So that leads me to our second thing that I want to get into. And I need to pull up this Instagram post where I saw this information from. Because as I get there, Justin, just kind of from the year long that this has been going on, your overall thoughts on the Watson situation.
Oh, how would I say? He probably did something with many people there.
Okay.
As to whether it's consensual or not, I have no clue about that.
Okay.
I mean, was he like acquitted or something? The court system.
Yeah. Sort of. Yes.
Sort of something.
Yes.
I mean, there's more smoke there than what Elliott had. And Zeke Elliott got suspended for 6 games when...
That's a good point.
No, he shouldn't have.
That's a good point.
So,
or it could just be Goodell out for the Cowboys, which could
that's
be.
very likely.
Could be the thing.
With I forget what other sport was it that the guy got suspended for a year doing something similar. This guy, Watson's probably going to have the book thrown at him from the NFL.
Yeah. So
I think it wasn't a baseball player that got suspended for like a year?
Yeah. Trevor Bauer.
Yeah. And what I think for Bauer, no, I don't know what's going on with that. That seems like the NFL is out to get him because he's going through all this other stuff. Like he's trying to make it fun. He's saying all these different things. I don't think that MLB likes.
And that was Bauer with just one woman.
Yeah, Watson.
We're up to almost 30 women now.
Yeah. So Brissett, welcome to the starting job.
Welcome to the starting job.
At least that week 1.
Right. At least for half the year, potentially an entire year. I understand why the Browns did it. You have the roster even next season. That roster is really not going to change. They got a lot of guaranteed money, which means everybody's going to pretty much stay the same. And they have Amari Cooper. So you go get Deshaun. Like, I get why they did it. But let me just go back to what I said almost right before I ended the show a year ago when this all started coming out. There's a couple of things that are really fishy to me, and there's only really one of two paths. Either number one, Deshaun Watson's a really bad dude and he should be locked up in jail forever.
Yeah.
Because with this situation, there's no middle ground. There's either one extreme or there's the other. So he's either a really bad dude, should never step foot on a football field and should be locked up in jail forever. Or the other extreme is there's some fishy stuff going on with all these women.
Yeah, there's something there. It's so many, like, did he actually do it? Or are they getting paid for?
Right. So
because it's like some of the politicians, when nothing's gone on, nothing's happening, and then they do views that are opposite, like the mainstream for people, and then all of a sudden all these people come out of the woodwork.
Right, all these people come out of nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not saying that didn't happen.
Now I will say, and this is going to lead me to some information that Josina Anderson from ESPN broke earlier today about Deshaun Watson's entire case. When this whole thing started, remember Watson was coming up on the end of his contract. Everybody was wondering what was going to happen, right? And he had some words with the owner. The owner and him kind of clashed. And it's funny because off camera here, we have a Houston Texans resident and fan here, so he's listening with keen ears. What's really fishy to me about this is that the lawyer that represented the first 24 women in this case is best friends with the owner of the Houston Texans, which just kind of raised some kind of weird alarms there. A lot of the women couldn't get their stories really straight. The problem was that neither side they were just playing chicken. Neither side wanted to present any type of evidence because they wanted the other one to make the first move. We're now to the point where either the NFL is going to figure this out somehow, some way, or Watson, for some reason, is going to end up on a football field week 1, which would be absolutely wild.
Oh.
This is what Josina Anderson reported today. And this was her on ESPN, and then she tweeted out her report afterwards. This is Josina Anderson, ESPN, very well sourced in the situation. She's sourced with a lot of players as well. She says, I'm told there's a recording of an interview with the adult son of one of the 12 women that the NFL has interviewed in the Deshaun Watson case, stating that his mom initially was complimentary of Watson in their conversations after the massage, but later switched her story and her tone after negative allegations surfaced about Watson. The son insinuated his mother. She misspelled that word. The son insinuated his mother intended to reward his silence, per the league source. There's a feeling that the NFL was initially cagey about details that they learned from this woman's son after only mentioning they interviewed him in their report. The son's recording was later reviewed by Watson's attorneys, revealing the aforementioned details, presumably illuminating why this particular accuser was not included in the 5 women the NFL ultimately focused on at the hearing. Josina continues, and she said, I was also told the NFL presented no evidence of violence, force, threat, or coercion in the allegations of any of the 5 women that they focused on at the hearing. First reported by Pro Football Talk. That was today. Josina Anderson.
That's a lot of stuff in there.
That's a lot of stuff. Obviously, this is just one of many accusers, but the Watson team and the NFL Players Association, which is backing Watson, isn't going to let this case go down without a fight.
Yeah.
That's Josina Anderson, ESPN.
There's going to be a big hullabaloo about all that. What truly happened.
The problem, to your point, is we're almost to 30 women.
Yeah, and
what are the odds every single one of them is lying?
Not likely.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like
somewhere in there's probably truth.
There's got to be some gray area somewhere that eventually is going to have to come to light.
Well, in every lie, there's always a bit of truth. So somewhere, there's something.
Somewhere, someone's got to talk. And eventually it's going to get figured out because it's going to go to court. The problem is the NFL and their court system loves to take forever to get these things figured out.
Well,
and we're rolling up onto a month from preseason games.
Well, Elliott got suspended mid-season for it.
Elliott got suspended mid-season. He missed. I think he
games.
played 4 games and then got
something like that.
got the middle part of the season was gone.
Yeah. It's like, what's going on?
And even when it came to Brady and his old Deflategate, good grief, that took forever.
It took a full season.
Took a full season,
Before
and
he got
then
suspended
he
4
got suspended for the first 4 games of the year.
Which I'll be honest, I was happy. I'm not a
sure.
big Brady fan. He's a great quarterback, but I'm not the biggest Brady fan.
So this whole Deshaun Watson thing is kind of all over the place, and it just kind of seems like it's going in a circle from we have evidence to we don't have evidence to here's another woman, but the woman won't talk, to where we have evidence, and it just keeps kind of going in that circle. And I'm sticking to my point here that I said a long time ago. There's only 2 ways that this ends. He either ends up in jail for a very long time for doing things to over 25 women that he should not have been doing. I don't care if you were alone in that house with them, or something's going on and he's going to end up playing football sooner than we think.
Yeah, it's one or the other. I'm surprised there's not any video evidence that's come out so far with all of that. Or has there?
I don't think there has been. According to everything that I've seen, all these massages took place at his house. And he was flying masseuses. Masseuses? Is that the right word?
Yeah, masseuse.
Masseuses, whatever.
Massage therapist.
There you go. He was flying many massage therapists from Atlanta, from the specific place that he likes. And I don't know what type of place this is. He was flying them personally to his house from all over the country, but mainly from this one place in Atlanta.
So maybe,
and he was getting personal massages.
If there was something like that, it could have been something like with Kraft when the Super Bowl was in Miami.
It could have been
those type of places. I'm not saying it is. I don't know. So, but
funny how that got swept under the rug so quickly. Like it just made the news for a day and a half, and then it was just gone.
Like,
imagine if that had been Jerry Jones. Oh my!
Oh wow! Most outspoken owner,
most polarizing owner on planet Earth.
Yeah,
that would have been crazy. But I do think that when we connect these 2 stories from Baker and Deshaun, I'm glad that Baker's onto his own thing.
Oh, I hope he does well with Carolina.
I really hope Carolina doesn't make him compete for that job with Sam Darnold.
And at the same
because
time,
that's just more mental trauma for him.
And I feel bad for Darnold too.
Move him.
He was at the Jets and he went to the Panthers, and even at the Panthers, he kind of lost the job too.
And what's interesting here is I'm not entirely sure what Carolina's doing. They've traded 7 draft picks over the last 3 years for 3 different quarterbacks, and it's Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, and now their rookie Matt Corral, who I just think they should start to begin with. The problem is Matt Rule feels like he's on the hot seat, and
as I think he probably is.
I just don't know what Baker does to fix you being on the hot seat. And I guess because Baker's not going there to be the bridge unless they haven't communicated that to Baker yet.
I don't think Baker, he's not a terrible quarterback. No. Should he have been the number 1 pick? Probably not.
Probably not.
First round pick, maybe.
Sure.
Because quarterbacks always go higher than they should be. Most do. But he doesn't move the needle to over the top player, in my opinion.
I don't think he does either. I don't think Sam Darnold does either.
No.
And I love Sam. But
Sam did get a bad start for the team he went to first.
If I was Matt Rule, I would just go to the owner and be like, look, I'm going to start the rookie quarterback and see what we got, which should give you a couple of extra years as a head coach. I mean, if you start a rookie quarterback with that roster in Carolina, you're not going to win many games anyway.
No. I mean, and then again, with the Baker trade, it's not much. It's a 5th round, maybe a 4th round if Baker plays a bunch.
Yeah. And you're not – it's weird. It's a weird trade, but I'm glad that Baker's out, and I'm going to defend him on his – weirdness that he is as a player, but I'm going to defend him just a little bit because with 4 different head coaches and 3 different offensive coordinators in the NFL that requires perfection from an entire organization to win a Super Bowl in 7 months, that's chaotic for him.
Yeah.
And plus, it wasn't good to have Deshaun Watson at practice and Baker still under contract and
Brissett's there now.
And Brissett's just kind of
they also got another quarterback. I forget who it is. They got someone else. I don't know. Not someone named, but obviously I forgot.
I think for Cleveland, they just needed to get one headache out of the building so they could completely focus on the other headache that could be whatever happens
And-
here with Deshaun Watson.
And what they did with traded for Watson, you knew Baker was out.
Yeah, you knew Baker was out the door. It was just a matter of time. But I think once the NFL started really jumping into these women and interviewing them, I think Cleveland said, okay, we need to get 100% focus on this as an organization. Let's get the Baker problem out the door. Just not even worry about.
Get at least somebody who has started before, to just in case as a backup.
Right. And I like the Brissett move.
Oh, Brissett, like I said, he'd be a good stopgap. Like, unfortunately, Bridgewater has become.
Right.
I feel bad for Bridgewater. He
Poor
was doing
Teddy.
so well, got injured.
Yeah, poor Teddy. That Cleveland roster is ready to win a Super Bowl.
They're like
That
they're on
roster's
the doorstep
phenomenal. And they just needed Deshaun Watson. Unfortunately, they may just have to wait
for a while.
Wait a year. I can't imagine he gets less than 6 games.
I'm
even if he's acquitted and even if he settles, I can't imagine.
Bauer got acquitted and all that stuff.
He still got a year, right?
He got a full year.
Yeah.
And they're trying to fight it, but he's still, this year, he's not pitching at all yet. He's still trying to fight it, doing what he can, but he's still out for the year. So with all that, I'm almost certain the NFL, because in past cases, they've gone too soft on people. There's likely going to be at least a year, in what I've seen.
Unless it's a Cowboys player, then they suspend Zeke for 6 games.
Well, there's a little bit of nothing there for Zeke. That was over. But then again, you also had the Ray Rice situation where they originally suspended him 2, and then Zeke not long after that.
Yeah, it was not long right after that. No. That's a good point. So I felt that they maybe had to come a little harder just to make sure that the rest of the league was on notice. Okay, let's go a little bit into more of your expertise here when it comes to baseball. If you do want to call in and you are listening wherever you are listening, numbers 817-637-2585. Our poor Ranger fans, and you tell me if I'm crazy, because I'm a de facto Rangers fan because I'm here. So I'm kind of speaking for myself in some certain way. Our poor Ranger fans, I think, are losing their mind just a little bit. And this is just from me watching Rangers Twitter, okay?
I'm also on a Rangers fan page on Facebook. I've seen some of the stuff there, too. I'm like,
all right.
What?
So you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We signed one of the best shortstops in baseball.
Wait, which one, Simeon or Seager?
Seager.
Because they were both listed as shortstops.
Okay. No. I'm talking about the better one.
Okay.
Seager.
The younger one.
Yeah, I'm talking about the World Series MVP. I'm talking about the World Series winner. That dude. That guy. The only guy. Okay. We signed him. Ton of money. Woohoo. We signed Simeon. Ton of money. Woohoo. And then for some reason, I guess every Rangers fan on planet Earth thought that we were winning the World Series next year.
Not everyone. I'll tell you this. I was like, not this year. I'm always thinking we're going to compete for the playoffs next year.
Right.
We still got prospects coming.
That's the realistic approach. 90% of the fan base lost their ever-loving minds, which is great. And I get it because I did too. Because I thought, oh my goodness, I have to get me a Corey Seager jersey. He's going to be phenomenal. The guy's going to win MVP and we're going to win the World Series. But I brought myself back to reality, given that every team that I'm a fan of is almost literal garbage. So I came back to reality. The problem is the Rangers are kind of sitting at that spot where they're fighting to get to 500, but they're better than people expected them to be. But now that we're fighting for 500, fans have an unrealistic expectation of what we're supposed to be, and they're mad that we're getting swept by the Baltimore Orioles. And I'm like, guys, we're not supposed to be good this year. So if we get any wins, great, but we're not supposed to be good.
Well, if I remember correctly, I think if I'm checking real quick, the Orioles actually have more wins than we do, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they're 38 or they're 39 now and 47th or something like that.
44.
Yeah.
Now they have more losses than us too because they've played more.
Right. So Ranger fans, it's okay. The wins that we can get are just like cherries on top this year. It's nice to see your team win, and you don't want to see them suck. Obviously, it's just the fan base, it's the human nature in all of us. But you got to understand what they're trying to do here. They didn't sign Seager and they didn't sign Simeon to win tomorrow morning. They signed them to win in a couple of years.
Which I think was at the pitch that Chris Young and John Daniels gave.
Right.
Which, for me, if like all the Rangers fans losing their minds, like might have started when the Rangers were going to the World Series. I was so disappointed when they lost the second one. But I was a fan before that because I'm old enough to remember when they the early 2000s when they signed
Mhm.
A-Rod. Same expectations. That didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, with baseball, one dude's not going to do it.
No, you
I'm
need.
sorry.
The biggest issue right now is getting consistent bats and pitching.
And pitching.
Wait, more pitching. Let me phrase that, 'cause
Well, that's a good point.
as of late, once John Gray got over the injury stuff, he's actually been pitching well.
Yeah.
And Martin Perez has been.
Martin Perez,
He's
dude.
an all-star. He's going to be an all-star. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter. He's an all-star.
Yeah.
He's going to make the team.
Yeah.
He's had such a great season.
He's been phenomenal.
And the reason why I say that John Gray, as of late, has been doing better is I play MLB The Show, and they have something called Lightning on players and stuff. So they give like players of the month. They give cards out. John Gray was one of the players they chose for the last month. And I saw the stats. Was like, oh, he actually did better than I thought he did.
Yeah.
So he, as of late, once he got the injury stuff, he's fine. Or better, I should say.
I don't think the starting pitching has been a problem all year.
Outside of certain people.
Sure. But I think the biggest problem has been able to close games. And they can't.
They've got two or three reliable relievers right now. And I feel bad for Matt Moore. Those two losses were extra innings with that stinking, stupid extra runner on second to start the inning.
Yeah.
I hate that in extras. I understand for little youth tournaments and stuff, try to get the game done faster, but it's the big leagues. Don't do that. That's not necessary.
I kind of like it.
This is where we differ.
I just kind of like it. I think it adds a little bit of interestingness and excitement to it.
Well, I'm more of an old school, traditional in most things, not everything, or at least for baseball. Because like I said, I grew up playing ball.
Sure.
I'm old enough to still come through the end of the old school thinking for play hard, all that stuff. Don't showboat.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing the new stuff, like some of the bat flips. I'm okay, cool. Just don't bat flip to disrespect the other team.
Sure.
Like when Bautista hit the home run against the Rangers in the playoffs.
It was pretty clean,
I was
though.
okay with the bat flip. It's just he threw the bat towards the Rangers dugout and stared at it.
Listen, man.
That's
when you hit a home run at that stage.
Look, I'm not saying you don't
do
celebrate
whatever you want.
I'm not saying don't celebrate. I'm just saying don't direct it and showboat. Not showboat. Show up the other team.
We got a minute before we go to break.
Oh.
I'm okay with trash talk as long as you can back it up.
Oh.
If you can back it up, do all you want.
I don't talk unless I can back it up.
So, look, Ranger fans, it's going to be okay. Relax. Give us another year to figure this whole thing out.
I mean, we still have Leiter in the minors. He was just announced as
I saw that.
Representative for the Futures game.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been great yet because it's pro ball. He's still learning. He's 21, 22.
Let me just say my Nashville pride is very, very, very big time with my boy Jack Leiter. Big Vandy here.
Oh,
Vandy boy. So I'm waiting for Kumar Rocker to get into the league. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. Ranger fans, it's going to be okay. When we come back, we got to jump into a lot of NBA stuff during the last half hour. I will give my Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving rant, and the two men in the room will try to calm me down because this is a bunch of baloney that we're watching. We'll talk about Jalen Brunson and the Mavs and what the Mavs need to do for the future. There's a lot to get into. I've got literally a page and a half of people that have signed deals. It's unreal. So anyway, we'll come back. Don't go anywhere. This has been Inside the Game, and we'll see you in just a couple minutes.
If you're trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 877-247-1581. 877-247-1581. 877-247-1581.
Out of deck carpet giving you the blues? Tired of your old dingy and broken tile? Let my friends at the Floor Store in Cleveland, Texas give your home the makeover it deserves. This is Old Taco Joe coming to you for the Floor Store. Whether it's carpet, tile, wood flooring, or real wood laminate, the Floor Store can cover all of your flooring needs. Located at 405 West Henderson Street in Cleveland, Texas, owner Brent Harris can help. Shower tile, tub surrounds, even backsplashes. Give them a call today at 817-641-9444. The Floor Store, they've got you covered.
When you're hungry for tender brisket or some delicious homemade cobbler, then look no further than Leach Brothers Barbecue, located at 1106 East Henderson, Cleveland, Texas. Leach Brothers has been family owned and operated since 1950. Take it from me, Taco Joe Orwinski. Todd and his family have been filling my belly breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a long time. Heck, I even have my own booth, open Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Come see them for dine-in, carry out, and all your catering needs.
Joco Community Radio is proud to be the voice of Johnson County, and we are happy that you are here. It's live 365 on TuneIn Radio Network. To listen or watch, simply go to tuneinjoco.com to choose where and how. The Joco Community Radio app is now available for free on Android and Apple devices. Simply search on your store, whatever phone you may have. You can check out our lineup of many shows and more on jococommunityradio.com. This episode and more are brought to you by Patriot Claims, making your insurance work for you. You can reach out to your Texas sales rep, Nona Reed, at 844-TEX.HAIL or 844-839-4245. All right. We got some NBA stuff to get into. Where do you want to go? Do you want me to rant on Kevin Durant, or do we want to talk Mavs?
It's up to you. I'll be honest. I haven't really followed too much other than the Mavs stuff.
Okay, let's
big news I've heard.
Okay,
that's about it.
Let's save the Mavs for a little bit later. If you don't know, an NBA free agency kicked off last Thursday.
Yeah, last week.
Last Thursday, and Kevin Durant broke the world of sports by asking for a trade outside of the Brooklyn Nets. Of course, his little partner in crime. His partner in crime, Kyrie Irving, is also apparently trying to get out. He's trying to get to the Lakers. LeBron wants him, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm not even going to worry about Kyrie
what are the Lakers doing
at
right
the
now?
moment. Well, they're getting younger, which is what they needed to do. They signed a bunch of 20-something-year-olds, which I'll take. But if we get Kyrie Irving, we'll be in good shape. We're not talking about the Lakers. Got to talk about Brooklyn here. This comparison between... Actually, I am going to bring up LeBron here. This comparison between LeBron and Kevin Durant, can we just put this whole thing to bed now? The gap between LeBron and Kevin Durant, even at this point and their entire career, has been the Grand Canyon. And it is not getting any smaller for Kevin Durant. It is getting bigger and bigger by the mile.
LeBron's always been the better player.
He's always been the better player. He's always been the better leader. He's always been the better deflector. He's always been the better guy with the media. I mean, this Kevin Durant, for some reason, and look, there are just some guys in the NBA. Here's my issue with Kevin Durant. My issue with Kevin Durant is there are some guys in the NBA that just want to wake up in the morning and play basketball. Like, they just want to hoop.
That's all they want to do.
That's all they want to do. They don't care about the media. They don't care about leading the team. They don't care about relationship with their coaches. They don't care about relationships with the team or the owners. All they want to do is get up in the morning and put on a jersey and just play basketball. Okay, that's great. That's Kevin Durant. I've got no issue with that, dude. Go do your thing. You're one of the most unstoppable scorers we've ever seen in history. Go do your thing. What I don't like is if that is your mentality and you don't want any of the other responsibilities attached to your name, don't be on Twitter calling yourself a basketball god and go on Twitter and saying people know what I'm about and go and form your little super team and then not expect anybody to criticize you in any way, shape, or form.
He joined the super team.
Well, yeah, that was problem number one. He thought he would get the glory and attention that Steph got, and he was never going to get that in Golden State. He thought that by winning titles, people would think he was better than LeBron, and that never happened.
LeBron still has more.
So, yeah, and LeBron, I think, was even better in those series, but that's a whole conversation for another day.
There was one he probably should have won MVP.
Yeah, like a
MVP.
35-point triple-double. He scored and did everything. Rebounds.
And
I mean,
gave
anyway.
it to Iguodala, and
Yeah, the first one, that was really
defending.
bad. But Kevin Durant can't say all these amazing things about him and talk about being best player and all this other stuff, because being best player on a franchise requires you to do more than just get out there and hoop.
You got to be there the whole time.
You got to be everything. You got to be every single aspect of the organization is on your shoulders. So, in a sense, as much as I would love to see Kevin Durant, go to another team and see what happens and what happens in the NBA, because the NBA is very polarizing, I'm honestly with Brooklyn here to say, you know what, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, you are both under contract. We don't have to move you at all.
Well, they just went through this with Harden last year, too.
Yeah.
Harden's worked his way out of 2 teams in 2 years.
And Joe Tsai, the owner, essentially said a couple days ago, I would rather suck than go with these two and their drama.
This is a crazy situation. What's going on there?
So I'm sorry, Kevin Durant, but if Brooklyn decides to not trade you because they gave you $140-something million guaranteed of the $190-something contract that you signed, he still has 4 years left on his deal. They don't have to move him.
No.
At all. They can sit on that contract and not pay him a single dime, because if he doesn't show up to games, those are game checks.
No, like what Philly did with Simmons, just find him for those games.
Just keep finding him. The thing with these NBA players, and if you are or know of professional athletes, I don't care how much money they have. When it's on the news every single day that you're losing $300,000 for a game check, that gets into these guys' pride, and it knocks them just a little bit. So eventually somebody's going to have to bite, and I don't think it's going to be Brooklyn, because he said he wants to go. Oh, my gosh.
He wanted the number 1 seeds.
He wanted both number 1 seeds, Miami and Phoenix.
Yeah.
The problem is neither one of those 2 teams, I think, have enough to trade for him.
Phoenix is looking like they might lose Ayton.
Well, they're not going to lose him to Brooklyn.
No.
Because Brooklyn doesn't want Ayton.
Well, it's who's going to pay Ayton the max.
Right.
And I don't think Phoenix wants to.
That's a good point.
Because I have watched, since the Mavs beat the Suns, I've watched a lot of the YouTube videos talking about, is it over for the Suns?
Well, Brooklyn already said that if we're going to trade Kevin Durant, we want Devin Booker in the deal. And Phoenix said no.
Why should they?
Right. There's no reason why they should say yes to that.
I mean, Devin Booker had a great year.
Right.
I don't think he should have been as high as it been the MVP voting, but best record.
Also, can we just talk about why that guy is cover the NBA 2K game? I'm not really sure what.
Well, they just had Luka, so they couldn't put him again.
That's a good point. But I think I would have rather had Ja.
I probably would have seen that too. I saw some mock covers of other players too that would have been amazing covers, better than Booker.
I don't really understand why Devin Booker's there. Point is, being with Kevin Durant, if you want the adulation and the praise of being the best player on the planet, that's going to come with some other stuff. And if you don't want to deal with that, then tell everybody on Twitter, hey, I don't want to deal with that. I just want to play basketball, instead of calling yourself on Twitter this basketball god and amazing this and that.
Wasn't Durant the burner account guy too?
Yeah. He probably still has many of those.
Oh, I'm pretty sure all of the NBA players at least have one burner account for them.
And let me shut down the comparisons really quick between LeBron and Kevin Durant, that him going to Golden State and him going to Brooklyn are just so much phenomenally better than LeBron when he's made his couple of switches. Yeah, he may have gone to Miami with Dwayne Wade, but let's keep in mind that Miami had just gotten their butts whooped in the first round that same year.
Yeah.
He went to a 44-win Miami team and a 35-win Laker team.
And elevated them.
And turned those into championships.
At least with the move to Miami for LeBron, I don't like how he did the decision as...
Sure, that was a bunch of drama stuff. Yeah, I could care less for that.
But what Cleveland was doing at the time when he left those both times...
Yeah.
I don't blame him for leaving.
I don't blame him for leaving.
For that, I just... when he went to the Lakers, it kind of just news came out. I was fine with that.
Sure.
I just didn't think you do a whole 30-minute special just to announce, I'm going to go to Miami.
Yeah. No, I understand.
And then announcing like 6, 7, 8 rings, and you're there 4 years.
Sure.
And you lose the first one to Dirk.
Right. Well, it made you very happy.
Oh, that made me ecstatic.
It's the only knock on his career, that finals.
But you also got to give it to Dirk for that finals too.
Well, sure, of course, he was phenomenal. So I don't understand where these comparisons of LeBron and Kevin Durant leaving their teams and going to other teams. Look, I was on Kevin Durant's side when he left Westbrook to begin with. When he left Oklahoma City, I said, woohoo, go. Just don't go to that team. Not only that, the team that you couldn't beat, that you had a 3-1 lead on that same year, that you couldn't beat Kevin Durant, you went to go join them because all 5 of them flew across the country to New York and begged you on their knees, and Draymond Green was outside the arena after they lost to LeBron crying in a towel on the phone to Kevin Durant that said, please come and join us. He could have said no very easily and said, no, that's okay. But he wanted to get his rings. He wanted to chase him as easy as possible. And I don't know how that in any way helped his legacy. If he would have won a ring in Brooklyn this past year, it would have been much bigger than both of the rings he won in Golden State.
When you look at legacies, I mean, I'm going back. I'm a Mavs fan, but when Dirk won his ring with the Mavs, his legacy is one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
He went from playoff choker, which not true, but he went to one of the best of all time. Definitely one of the best power forwards of all time. So, but I still look at it like, why are rings important in the debate for who's the best of all time? Is Barkley still not one of the greatest power forwards of all time?
Sure.
Even though he didn't win one?
Sure. I like where you're going.
Be one of the greatest at your position all the time. It doesn't matter if you have a ring or not.
That's a conversation for a whole nother day because all I hear in my ear is 6-0 and 6-0 and 6-0 with Michael. 6-0 with Michael Jordan.
Like I'll go back to baseball. Is Ted Williams not one of the greatest hitters of all time?
Easily.
He never won a World Series. He never made it to the World Series in his career. So why are rings that important? It's like for me, Brady, he's got a bunch of rings, but why is he? I don't think he's the greatest quarterback of all time. But a lot of people say because of the rings.
That's a conversation to have for another episode.
Oops, I brought stuff up.
Interesting. I'm not. We'll save that for another episode.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at it.
He's still top 3 all time in my book. I just don't think he's the greatest quarterback of all time.
I think who people may have as the greatest, I don't even have. I have him at 3.
I have Manning.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. But I think right now I'd go Tom, Manning, and Montana.
Yeah, those are the 3 too. Rings aren't the end all be all for me.
I don't think they are either. Unfortunately for Kevin Durant, he thought that would bring him some type of validation that he just simply has never gotten. Not understanding that he built this thing in Brooklyn. Can we just remember that? Like him and Kyrie Irving buddied up and said, we're going to go to Brooklyn. We're not going to go to the Knicks. We're going to go to Brooklyn and we're going to find a way to do this thing. And now you're literally leaving them out to dry. Well, there's not really a team that can offer enough because stupidly for them, they got Ben Simmons sitting on the bench, who I guess can't play basketball because of his brain.
He can't shoot
He can't shoot. I think, honestly, if he was healthy, he fits in perfectly with them.
Well, if he was healthy. And
if he was healthy.
Good and like mentally there. He can't shoot, but you've got other people to shoot for you.
Right. He can just be magic. He just has to run the point and have Kyrie and Kevin Durant on the wings.
Drive in and score
yeah,
sometimes.
That's all he has to do and play defense.
You don't have to be a Luka in this league to be great.
Right. Ben Simmons, I think, fits perfectly with them. The problem is that Ben Simmons is on a specific rookie deal that doesn't allow Brooklyn to trade for literally any young star in basketball because you're not allowed to have 2 of those guys in the same team on those type of rookie deals.
Did not know that.
Right. So they can't trade for anybody that they want. They can't trade for Bam. They can't trade for Devin Booker because he just signed his brand new contract. They can't trade for John Morant. They can't trade for Jason Tatum. Any of the young stars that they want back in a deal for Kevin Durant, they can't do this year because of Ben Simmons' current contract, how it's structured, and they can't change that till the following season.
They dug themselves a hole.
So they're stuck.
Well, going for Harden probably didn't help.
Well, true.
That whole
they have to be the greatest. They have to be the greatest what if team in sports history.
Oh,
easily.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a bigger what if.
The only one I can think of, but then again, like Mavs fan, is what if Nash stayed in Dallas with Dirk?
No, this is bigger.
Oh,
You have maybe 3 of the best scorers to ever play the game.
I'm saying in my mind, the only one I can think of, and even then, it's not even close.
It's not even close. I mean, they assembled, if they're all healthy, 3 of the most prolific scorers in basketball history. I'd say maybe 3 of the top 10 ever to put a ball in a basket. And not only did they get swept this year by Boston, they got Giannis Antetokounmpo to the face last year. And I don't care what you want to tell me about Kevin Durant's toe being this far off the three-point line. He choked in overtime. Everybody does this thing for LeBron where they take little portions of the game and criticize him to the max and don't even look at the totality of the game. Kevin Durant was awful, and he was horrible this year in the playoffs. So there's my 2 cents on Kevin Durant. I hope that Brooklyn figures out what they want to do. I hope they trade Kyrie out.
Yeah, because you
send him to the Lakers. We'll go win a championship.
You can't, at least in Brooklyn, you can't trust Kyrie. I'll be honest with you. You can't trust him. You
can't trust him anywhere outside unless he's standing next to LeBron James. The only time that Kyrie has been stable as a human being and a basketball player is when he's had LeBron James standing next to him.
He basically blew up the Celtics and took them a few years to get back.
Absolutely.
And took him Tatum and Brown.
They got to the conference finals without him. It took LeBron to 7 games in the conference finals without Kyrie Irving.
And they just made it the final.
And they just made the finals. So, Kyrie Irving, he's another one of those guys who just wants to play basketball.
Yeah,
and then he wants to do his
play, because it's almost like Leonard right now. Does he play all the time, or will he play 60 games in a season?
Yeah, that's a good point. I will say this about the Lakers: if they do pull the trigger on this, I wouldn't put it past LeBron to have a heart-to-heart, man-to-man before they pull that trigger and him call Kai and say, "Hey, brother, we did some great things in Cleveland, but if we're going to do this again, I'm going to need you for like 70 games a year. Yeah. And if you can't give me that, we can't do this."
So unless you get hurt, of course.
Sure.
That's different.
Sure. But if you're healthy, I don't need you going on your sabbaticals. I don't need you going on your weird family trips for a week and a half. I need you for 70 to 75 games a year.
And some of it was he refused to get vaccinated.
That was another issue.
Then again, let's not get into that. That's politics.
It's a whole other thing. So I imagine that Bron will have that conversation. I imagine he'll have that conversation.
You would hope so.
Bron's going to be 38 years old December the 24th this year. He doesn't have time to mess around with Kyrie Irving again.
No,
so
what he's been able to do at his age, LeBron.
It's unreal. 30 rebounds, 30 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. What do you average at 37?
It's crazy.
It's unreal. So yeah, this comparison between Kevin Durant and LeBron, it's not even close. No. Let's stop it, please. LeBron's been the best player in the world for the last 15 years up until 2 years ago when Giannis took that from him, and I'm happy that Giannis took it from him.
It's now going to the Europeans are some of the best players in the league.
I think the 2 best players in the world are European. Giannis Antetokounmpo and Luka Doncic are the 2 best players on planet
So how
Earth.
far behind is Jokic? Because he's back-to-back MVP.
I would probably go Giannis, Luka, Steph, Jokic, LeBron.
Oh, I would have LeBron a little bit higher than Jokic, to be honest. But
the guy's got back-to-back MVPs.
I know it's just
it's a little recency bias. I think you have to have Steph in the top 3 just because the dude just won a title.
He finally got
his finals MVP and now has 4 rings to go along with being the greatest shooter to ever play the game of basketball. I'll take him in the top 3, and I'm not really mad at it. We can argue about the rest later, but I think it's no doubt Giannis and Luka. And I really think the gap between 2 and 3 is pretty substantial. Speaking of Luka Doncic, let me get off my Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving rant. The Mavs are in an interesting spot.
Yeah.
I was in a position a year ago when I ended the show, and I said, if Luka Doncic and the Mavs, let me rephrase, if the Mavs, being blessed by Luka Doncic, cannot win more than one title in, let's just say, 20 years that he stays here, it's been a colossal failure.
Well, it was a colossal failure with Dirk, to be honest. They one
Sure.
title, 2 finals appearances.
Sure.
I mean, you did have the Kobe and Shaq Lakers that for a while.
Right.
You had
And the Spurs that were really good in the
Spurs.
conference. I will say Luka right now is better than Dirk ever was.
All time, Luka's not there yet.
I just mean as a player.
As a player, yeah.
Right now, Luka's better than Dirk ever was.
Except maybe shooting, because some of Luka's shots are inefficient. And Dirk's just...
I still think he's a much better player than Dirk ever was.
Now, everything else, I'm saying the one area
Sure.
where Dirk would be better
Sure.
right now. That's all I was saying.
Yeah, I think he's a better three-point shooter. And a much better free throw shooter. By miles.
Dirk is one of the better free throw shooters.
Yeah, he was 90% his entire career. So I'm not worried about. I think Luka will figure that out.
Yeah, he's still, 22, 23?
23 years old. Much better player than Dirk ever was. If you cannot get more than one title out of this kid, you failed as an organization, in my mind. That all being said, in a league where it's very easy for Luka to pick up the phone and say, hey, just for argument's sake, funny, I could just go play with LeBron in LA, or I could go play with Ja in Memphis, or I could go play with, whoever I want to go play with, whenever I want to go play. In a league where that happens in an instant, Mavs have to be very careful with how they approach these free agency periods and who they sign and who they trade for. Brunson is now gone. Your second best player is
Christian Wood, probably. That or
okay. Dinwiddie, Hardaway Jr. off the. I don't know.
But you got to think what Luka did do, where he took them this year, when he finally wasn't facing two of the greatest wing defenders, Leonard and George, in the playoffs.
Well, I mean, he still smoked them anyway.
Well,
anyway.
Luka himself did. It was the Mavs around him.
Right.
I mean, he beat the number 1 seed, Suns, in 7 games. After the first 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Luka special was, you're going down.
Yeah. It's just not going to get any easier with Brunson not on the floor. The only problem is, where do you go?
Well, I don't think the Brunson's been official, has it? So they might be trying to get a sign and trade to not have tampering issues for the Knicks.
He's going to be a Knick.
He's going to be a Knick,
whether we like it or not.
I'm just saying they might be trying to get a sign and trade with the Mavs.
Yeah, that's really some really fishy stuff.
They don't get hit with tampering and lose picks.
Yeah.
Because all the stuff around
it's a little weird that the Mavs couldn't even get a conversation with Brunson after every reporter on planet Earth had pretty much told us that he was going to get a conversation.
And he basically told the Mavs, hey, I'm going to go sign here.
Mavs got to go get the most important position in basketball right now, which is wings. You got to have wings. Guys that can play defense and shoot the ball. Because as much as I love the JaVale McGee signing, and I love the Christian Wood signing and trade.
I'll miss Boban, though.
Sure. The Boban-Luka interactions will always be missed. The problem here is you can't clog the paint because Luka needs that area to operate. That's where he's at his best. So you can't just go get a bunch of bigs and then you think all your problems are solved. You got to still have the shooters and guys that can play defense. And I think the Mavs they're okay, but I think you're in a weird spot where I think you got to go get another guard.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple. Trade away that Hardaway contract, please, for the love of everything.
I wouldn't be on mind losing the Hardaway.
Powell can go as well.
Powell, get out of here, Powell.
Both of them can be gone very quickly. And I think we'd have...
Well, Powell was starter in name only. He's a placeholder for Kleba.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think they're going to have to do some more and continue to do more as Luka progresses as a player, because the dude is already in the next couple of years maybe in the argument as the best player in the league, and you can't do a LeBron in Cleveland when he was there first.
No, he might not come back because he's not from the area. Like
Yeah.
LeBron was from Cleveland area, so
The
he
good
went
thing-
back to
the
get them
good-
that title.
Yeah, and the good thing the Mavs have going for them is that it seems like Dirk and his relationship is amazing, to where Dirk would be
Yeah.
like, dude, just wait it out, maybe not leave,
Well,
stay in Dallas.
that's one thing where Cuban would be able to help because with him and Dirk, Cuban was loyal to Dirk, and Dirk was loyal back.
Well, Cuban's going to have to be a little more than loyal. He's going to have to get him some players, or
Well,
else we're going to be in some.
Nico Harrison seems to be a guy that's trying, just don't really have the money at the moment to get the top tier.
Yeah, you'd have to do some interesting scenarios money-wise to get that all figured out. But look, the main reason I think you lost to Golden State was you couldn't rebound.
Oh,
And you fixed
by
that.
far.
You fixed that with Christian Wood and
By
JaVale
far.
McGee. You fixed the issue.
Luka's going to do Luka.
Right.
And they couldn't hit their threes.
So you fixed your biggest issue, I think, with the biggest competition in the West. You got to get another guard, some type of combo guard. Colin Sexton's out there.
I've heard them linked to them before.
He's an
Trying.
interesting pick. You just can't get somebody that's going to demand that ball too much from Luka, but good enough to when Luka has to sit, the dude can
Well,
run the operation.
Surprisingly, Dinwiddie did do that when
He did.
he got more aggressive within.
He did do a bit of that, which was good.
He got out of Washington, so that helped him.
Well, yeah, anybody getting out of Washington, poor Porzingis.
Yeah, well, honestly, he wasn't a great fit here.
That was another kind of what if. I don't really know if they used him. Anyway, that's a whole conversation for another day.
Yeah,
Well, this has been a fantastic show. It's kind of great. I got some jitters being back. We'll
I got
settle
jitters
in.
being my first time.
I think you did great for your first time ever live on
Yay.
air. We are live. We'll get to questions and stuff. My dad asked a question. He said, "Will the Cardinals ever go to the Super Bowl with Kyler Murray at the helm?" In
Maybe.
10 seconds, I'll tell you, probably not.
Not with Kingsbury, at least.
Oh, and that's an interesting conversation to have one day. Anyway, there's your answer to your question, Dad. Thanks for watching. We got 30 seconds. I'm out of here. Thanks so much for listening. You can always go back and rewatch the show. Matter of fact, the entire show turns into a podcast on Spotify afterwards, so you can go back and watch it. On YouTube, Facebook, it's really easy to just go back and watch the show, share it with your friends, family, whoever loves sports. We're back every Thursday from here on out, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, in case, you're listening across the country, whatever. Anyway, thanks so much for being here. This has been Inside the Game with Kelvin. That's Justin. My friend Andres is hiding in the corner out of frame. He won't be here too much. He's from Houston, but anyway, he's visiting in town. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. This has been Inside the Game. Peace.
See ya.
At Romika Designs, we're more than just a laser engraving and specialty design company. Much more. I'm Ron Phillips, co-owner of Romika Designs, and if you can dream it, we can probably make it. We can custom laser cut and engrave on nearly all material. Great for one-of-a-kind gifts, home decor, business and specialty items, or personalized and logo designs created just for you or your company. Allow us to become your go-to gift and specialty project partner. Romika